Hey there, and welcome to episode 4 of the Empowered and Abundant podcast. Today's episode is about expanded impact. And I believe that this is one of the most important topics that I talk about in the Empowered Abundance program. And so, this is one of the most important podcast episodes that I think I'll ever record, although I'm sure there's going to be other ones that are so valuable and such game changers. I know that's going to happen in the future. And also, it is so important that you listen to this episode because for the first several episodes and in a lot of what I talk about with transforming your relationship with money and stepping into abundance, I talk a lot about being in control of your life, wielding the power of your money to create the life that you want to live. But it's also about so much more than that. It's about more than just manifesting your best life. It's also about the impact that you have on this world. And it's so much bigger than just me, and it's so much bigger than just you. It's about this world that we are living in and co-creating together. And especially in this modern day and age, there are so many things in the world that, are just not great, right? There are things that are challenging or scary, people who are suffering, lots of people that are suffering, whether this is financially, economically, politically, environmentally. It's easy to hear about this world, the state of this world, and feel heartbroken. It's easy to feel like the world's gone crazy, the world is crumbling around us, to feel like we have no control and no power over this world that you are living in. But I'm here to tell you that you have more power and control than you think. And not just in your life, not just in your life to create the life that you want to live, but actually in your ability to impact and change the world. And I know that this is something that you care about. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, I know that you care about having a positive impact on this world, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a coach, if you're a healer in any form. I know that you care about making a bigger impact on this world, about shining your light, having a positive impact on this world. And this is why this is the perfect episode for you, because I'm going to tell you how you can have the greatest possible impact that you ever can in this life, starting right now from exactly where you are at. And again, it's easy to feel hopeless here and there. It's easy to feel like even though we're trying to do everything that we can. We're showing up, we're being our authentic selves, we're doing a lot of personal growth, we're healing, but at the end of the day, like, there's just suffering in the world, and there's so much chaos in the world, and the environment, and politics, and this, that, and the other, and hunger, and there's nothing that I can do about it. I'm just one drop in a bucket. And what could one drop possibly do? But the truth is that you are making an impact on this world every single day. And we are co-creating this reality always, all of the time. And there is a way for you to expand your impact that you are making on this world. And there is a way for you to shape this world and make it a world that you really want to live in. And I know you know what I'm talking about, this kind of world that you want to live in, the kind of world where we are all thriving, where we are all free, where we are all safe, where we are all abundant, where the environment is happy, where everybody has food and shelter, where there's less war and more peace, where we can all simply exist, live our lives, enjoy our lives, and support each other, where we can all heal, where we can all feel like we are enough and there is enough here for us. I know that you've seen this vision of what is possible. I know that you've seen glimpses of what this better world looks like. The thriving world where we're all happy and healthy and content. And how we create this world is through the power of our money. And in the last episode, I talked about how you can wield the power of your money to create the life that you want to live by using your money intentionally in alignment with your vision, in alignment with your best life, in alignment with who you are truly, in alignment with what is most important to you, with what you value and what you prioritize. But what if I told you it was bigger than this? What if instead of just using your money to create your best life, you could use your money to literally change the world? What if I told you that that was true? Because it is. As I've talked about before, your money is your power. That old saying, money is power, listen, that is true. It is with money that we manifest in our lives. It is with money that we create. And we can look around at this modern day and age and see how money is powerful and how money is creating so much of the current reality and the current circumstances. But usually, this idea of money being power has a negative connotation. We have this idea that money is bad and evil, and that when I have a lot of money, I become an evil, greedy person. And look at all the people in power who have all the money. Look at the impact that they're having on the world. Look at what they're doing. And we use this as an excuse and as a reason to not have money, to not make money. And in fact, we can be subconsciously repelling money. And we can be holding ourselves back from stepping into more abundance, from stepping into more wealth, because we have this idea that money is evil and people with a lot of money are bad. But money is neutral. Money is simply an expander. It is about what you choose to do with your money. And that's what gives money its power. That's what creates the results of money, right? So the people with a lot of money that are doing harm, like those are people that are just doing harm because they have unhealed gunk, right? They're not in alignment with who they truly are. They're acting from places of fear and lack and not enoughness, right? Not enoughness has been driving our current reality, our current economy and politics. But what if more of us who have this same vision of having an aligned, thriving, abundant, peaceful, prosperous world, what if more of us were to have more money? Imagine what impact we could have on the world. Imagine what would happen if everybody who had this same vision had more money. How would that impact and shape and change the world? It would change it in a really big way if more of us had more power. Now, I want you to take that idea and pare it down to where you are right now. Because the truth is that we don't need a lot of money to impact the world. No, no, we do not. You don't have to wait until you're a millionaire and then become this big philanthropist and make huge contributions to different charities in order to have a positive impact on the world. No, no, no. You can have a massive positive impact on the world starting right now with the money that you currently have. Because with every single dollar you spend, you are making choices about your life. You're making choices about what's most important to you, what you want to prioritize, what you want to create more of. And with every dollar you spend, not only are you creating and manifesting more of those things into your life, you're also creating more of that in this world. Let me say that again. With every dollar that you spend, you are creating more of that in this world. And I'm talking about the energy behind the money, what you're choosing, what you're prioritizing, and what is driving your spending. Is your spending rooted in fear and lack and not enoughness? Are you prioritizing things based on not enoughness and lack? And this is what has been happening for a really long time. Is so many of us have been operating from scarce-based beliefs, fear, lack, not enoughness, and we've been spending our money accordingly for generations and generations, and we've been learning over and over again that this is the way the world is, and that has led us to where we are now and the world that we are living in now. A world that prioritizes convenience, a world that prioritizes buying the cheapest things at all costs. And not just like financial costs, but sacrificing people's humanity, right? Having really cheap, unsafe work environments in poorer countries all over the world so that we can buy the cheap things on Amazon and have it shipped to us quickly and efficiently without spending a lot of money so that we can be happy. Now, convenience and affordability are, they're okay. Those are fine things to prioritize, but at the end of the day, those are more scarce-based priorities, right? We only need to prioritize cheapness if we believe we don't have a lot of money. If we believe we don't have enough money to spend more on the things that are most important to us, right? It's like this idea of I can't afford to buy organic produce, so I'm going to buy like the cheap, non-organic, unhealthy food, right? So we're sacrificing the priority of our health for the sake of this idea that we don't have enough money, right? Not enoughness is driving that decision, and we are prioritizing affordability over prioritizing our health. And you might be hearing this and be like, yeah, well, of course I'm going to buy the cheapest thing. That's me being smart with my money. Like, I can't afford organic produce, Scarlett. What are you talking about? But what if this was not true? What if you could prioritize the things that are important to you and have enough money to do so? Because often we create these ideas of the things we want being more expensive, being unaffordable, being out of our reach, buying the things that are more in alignment with who we truly are and the world we want to live is outside of our current means. And so we keep choosing to spend in alignment with these fear-based priorities. But what if it wasn't true? In fact, I found time and time again that the most aligned things are way more affordable than you think. In fact, they're like the better choice. For me, like I used to have this fight with people in my family all the time. You'd be like, you buy all this organic produce because you don't have large bills. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Listen, I buy organic produce because I have a farm share with the local farm. And so, and let me tell you how a farm share works, just to give you context. How a farm share works is you pay a large amount up front, and then you have weekly produce. It's like a weekly produce subscription for the whole year because you're essentially buying a fraction of the farm and all of the produce that comes out of the farm for that season. So I intentionally, with my money, save up all year round so that by the time I actually just bought it in February, by the time the spring rolls around, I spend $770 for 24 weeks of produce. And I haven't done the math like just this second, so I don't know, but it's around $32 a week for a lot of organic produce. Crazy, right? But it's actually cheaper to buy organic produce than me going to some grocery store and buying inorganic produce every week, right? And there's more examples like that as well. Because the truth is that the things in alignment with nature, with who we truly are, when we shed the layers of not enoughness and fear, that is what we are. We are already operating in alignment with nature, right? We all desire the same things. We desire safety and love. We desire freedom. Everybody does. Whether they, you know, don't seem that way or not, whether they're acting from fear-based patterns or whether you have done the work and you are aware of who you truly are and the life you want to live and what you want, which my guess is that if you're listening to this, you are one of those people. Congratulations, right? When we get down to who we truly are, we are in alignment with nature, and nature is abundant. And it's abundant naturally. Okay. Like, for example, let me give you some other examples of this. Compost piles. I absolutely love my compost pile. I started it a few years ago, and I have learned so much wisdom from my compost pile, right? Because typically I would take my vegetable scraps and eggshells and whatever and throw it in the trash. And now it's like, okay, goodbye forever. Now I'm just adding to some trash pile. But instead, when you create a compost pile, you're throwing away all the seeds and skins and peels and stems and everything that you don't eat from your produce and your nat organic matter. And then all of that breaks down and becomes dirt. And then you know what happens? Your compost starts growing. I get like random bonus vegetables from my compost pile all the time. Get like squash and cucumbers and tomatoes just like start growing because that's what nature does. One tomato plant has hundreds of seeds in it, right? So one tomato equals the future abundant tomatoes. It equals an infinite amount of future tomato plants when it is like going through its natural path in harmony with nature. And so a compost pile, you get this beautiful fertile dirt. I don't need to buy dirt from Home Depot anymore. I have dirt in my backyard. I just used what I had to make this dirt, and now this dirt just grows produce on its own. Okay, because nature is abundant. It just keeps going. Plants grow, they have seeds, they die. Those seeds grow and become more plants and they multiply, and then those plants die, and then it grows more seeds and more seeds. Okay? It's crazy. Same with, okay, there's other examples of this. Kombucha. I started brewing my own kombucha years and years ago. And for those of you who don't know, kombucha is like a fermented tea. And so, how you make it is you get a big vat of sweet tea, or you make it, and then you have what's called a scobe. And that is the kombucha like bacteria culture. And you put the scobe in the tea, and the bacteria eat the sugar in the tea, and it ferments the tea. And then you have kombucha. That's how it's made. But guess what happens when you make kombucha? The scobe goes from being one scobe to two scobes. It doubles in the process of making kombucha as a byproduct. And now you have this bonus scobe. And so what you could do is take this second scobe and put it in another jar and then have two batches of kombucha growing. And then you know what happens? Each of those scobes make another scobe. So you could get two more jars and then it's exponentially growing. It just keeps going. So in my mind, I'm like, how could you ever brew kombucha without just starting a kombucha factory? Because nature is abundant. And same with bread. If you've ever made your own sourdough and you have a sourdough starter, that sourdough starter just keeps multiplying and multiplying. You keep feeding it, you have more and more. You gotta like give it away. You gotta start giving away kombucha. You gotta start giving away bread, right? Because nature is abundant. And so, this idea that we need to prioritize convenience and like the cheapest things at all costs, like that is living our lives from a place of scarcity, which is not in alignment with nature. Because nature on its own is abundant, it is thriving, it is flourishing. It is meant to grow exponentially. In fact, when I have the farm share, not only am I getting affordable produce that's organic, that's in alignment with what's important to me, it supports the environment, it supports my local farmers, it supports my local economy, it's healthy food that I get to eat, and it's affordable. I get so much of it, sometimes I have to give it away. That's what living in abundance is like, is being like, oh my gosh, I have too much produce, right? If you've ever owned like a fruit tree or grown your own garden and you're like, oh my gosh, now I have 1,000 avocados. Now I have so many apples. Now I have too many tomatoes. I don't even know what to do with them. We live in an abundant world. There is an excess. We just don't know how to see it because we've been programmed with not enoughness. And because we've been programmed with not enoughness, we take action and we prioritize things rooted in not enoughness. We spend our money in alignment with not enoughness. And that's why we create a not enough world where we are sacrificing. We're sacrificing things, whatever we're not choosing, whatever we are not prioritizing at the expense of what we are choosing. in alignment with fear and lack and not enoughness. And that creates our current reality. There are so many people that I hear that are against big business, like Amazon and Google and this, that, and the other. And yet, we are the ones creating this reality with how we spend our money. When we spend our money, what we are saying is, yes, more of that, please. Okay, so when you buy cheap clothes from big companies, you are saying, yes, more of that, please, to child labor in other countries. When you say yes, or when you buy most chocolate, you are saying yes to slave labor. Did you know that was a thing? When you spend your money on fast food chains, you're saying yes, more fast food chains. When you spend your money on things that are harmful for the environment, that come in plastic and disposable things, you are saying, yes, more of that, please. And so we can look around at this current reality and feel upset and heartbroken at the current status of it. But also, it's important to recognize the role that we are all playing in creating it. And you might be saying, yeah, I know, Scarlett, but like, what can I do about it? I'm just one person. If I stop buying things from Amazon or I stop supporting this, that, and the other, what is that going to do? I am just one drop in a bucket. But if you give 100% of the impact that you can make, if you live your life 80 to 100% in alignment with what is truly in alignment with you and your most abundant self, then you are giving your 100%. And that is the greatest impact that you can make. This idea that your impact doesn't matter is what does create this current reality, because it's easy to slip into these ideas of, oh, well, it's just me. It doesn't make a big difference. So I am going to do the thing. I am going to buy the cheap clothes. I am going to buy from Amazon. I am going to do this, that, and the other because everybody is. And if I make a difference, it's not going to matter. Okay, but if everybody is thinking that and everybody is acting that way, that's what creates this life. Versus if you give your 100%, if you live your life 100% in alignment with the life that you want to live, and everybody gives their 100% in alignment with the life that they want to live, then that changes the whole entire world. But the only piece that you can truly be in control of is your 100%. And so it's your duty to give your all to the life that you want to live and the world that you want to live in. And how you do this is by wielding the power of your money. With every dollar that you spend, you are making a choice. Not just about the life that you want to live and the life that you are creating, you're also making a choice about the kind of world that you want to live in. Because, for example, if everybody in the world, not even everybody, if like 80% of the people in the world said, screw fast food, I care about health and well-being, care about real local produce, an organic, high quality food, then everybody would stop shopping, would stop buying fast food. And then what would happen? All those fast food places would close. That's what would happen. The reason that they exist, the reason that these things exist is because so many of us have been choosing them. That's what makes it happen. You are saying to the universe, yes, more of that, please. It is simply the law of economics. It is supply and demand. We are in control of this economy as the 98 percenters, as the 99 percenters. Yes, there's this idea of the 1% have most of the money and have most of the control. Yeah, sure. But if we look at the 99%, yeah, we have less money than those 1%ers. But when we look at all of our money collectively together, we have the greater impact. We have the greater impact. And the more that we each individually choose to live our most abundant and aligned lives, the more that we transform the whole entire world. Because when you spend your money in alignment with what you truly value, with what is truly most important to you, you are giving your all. And that makes a difference. And that makes an impact. And that ripples out and inspires others to do the same. And when we all live thriving lives, that is the world that we create. And sometimes there's this idea that in order to thrive, right, in order to have lots of money and be abundant, something else has to sacrifice as a result. This idea of competition, right? Like if I'm rising up, I need to push others down. If I'm benefiting and having lots of money, then it means I'm taking money away from others. And that if I'm thriving, that others are suffering as a result. And this is, again, why so many of us will stay stuck in scarcity, lack, and not enoughness, because we believe that that is us being in service to this world. But it's not. Because the flow of money is just that. It is a flow. It is not a money pie that everybody gets a slice of. And maybe some slices are bigger, and because some slices are bigger, other slices are smaller. And you don't want to take too big of a slice because you want everybody to have a slice. No, no, no. That is a finite, inaccurate picture of money, of enoughness. Money is a flow. It flows just like water. Now, water, when it's in harmony with nature, is again an endless and abundant cycle. It rains down, it gets utilized for plants, and then the water again, either those plants dies and the water goes back into the earth, and then the water is evaporated back into the clouds, and then it rains again. And it is an infinite flow of that water, right? Same with air. Think about it like this. When we breathe in, we are consuming oxygen. But you're not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to breathe. I'm going to stop. I'm going to breathe less so that other people get more oxygen. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. You suffocating yourself and dying off doesn't help anybody get any more oxygen, because when we're living in harmony with nature, with our innate abundance, there's plenty of oxygen to go around. You know why? Because there's not a finite amount of oxygen. It's a cycle. a coexistent cycle with plants and nature, right? We breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide. The plants take in the carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. Our existence is fueled by the byproducts of everything else that exists around us. And everything else that exists around us is fueled by the byproducts of us. We exist in harmony. We exist in a cycle. And that's why there is always enough air and oxygen because we are living in flow and in harmony and in alignment with the cycle. In the cycle, there is always enough. But if we get it into our head, this idea of lack, and we start taking action from lack, that's when we disrupt the natural flow of abundance. That's when we disrupt the flow of nature. Imagine if we were like, the world's gonna run out of oxygen, and then we start hoarding oxygen in like big tanks, like tons and tons of it. Imagine what impact that would have on the humans and then the plants, right? It would change this natural flow of harmony because we're taking action rooted in not enoughness, which is against the flow of nature. And instead, when we learn to live in harmony with nature, with abundance, which is who we truly are, we truly are a product of nature and abundance. We are part of that cycle. We are part of that flow. And your existence alone is part of that flow. And it's only the idea of not enoughness and scarcity and fear that disrupts this cycle. Again, the idea of not enoughness is what pushes us to sacrifice our true values and our true priorities for the sake of perpetuating this idea of not enough, which creates this world that we're living in, fueled by fear, fueled by repressing others, fueled by the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, and feeling powerless, feeling like we have no control over this life. And this is why it's so important for you to transform your relationship with money, to own your abundance that you already have right now, no matter how much money that you have. Recognizing that life is flowing to you, that money is flowing to you, and it's up to you to direct that current to water what you want more of, right? If money is water and life is giving water to you, what seeds do you want to water in this world with your water? What do you want to choose with your money? What do you want to grow more of with your money? And I'm not necessarily saying like uproot your whole life, change everything, do everything different, spend hours and hours researching everything. And, you know, this can be a bit of a rabbit hole and it can take some time. But there are some small shifts that you can make that can have a huge impact on this world because, again, when we all live in alignment, when we all do this, we have such a huge impact. Many drops in a bucket fill a bucket. Many pennies make a dollar, many dollars make 100, many hundreds make 1,000, and so on and so forth. And this comes back to the idea of respecting every single dollar that you have, wielding the power of every dollar with intention, in alignment with the kind of world that you want to live in. It's not someday in the future when I'm rich, then I'll have a positive impact on the world. No, it's making the kind of impact that you want to make now by how you choose to live your life every single day. Even if you only have enough water to right now to water one tomato plant, for example, choosing to grow that one tomato plant is a bigger impact than choosing to grow a bunch of weeds instead, because that's what everybody's doing, and it's easier to grow weeds, many weeds, than one tomato, right? Like your one tomato, like I said earlier, is going to keep growing more and more tomatoes infinitely in the future as long as you take care of it. Because when you spend your money in alignment with the life you want to live and the kind of world you want to live in, that expands. Abundance is infinitely expansive. Scarcity contracts. Again, that's why this cycle of not enoughness is escalating and growing, and there's more and more and more because it's a contracting cycle that's closing in on itself. That's why when we feel like we don't have enough, no matter how much money we have, it still never feels like there's enough because not enoughness is fueling our life. But what if abundance fueled your life? What would your most abundant self choose? What would your most abundant self prioritize? When you take fear out of the equation, when you take not enough out of the equation, when you take should out of the equation, who are you? What's important to you? And what kind of life do you want to live? What kind of world do you want to live in? And recognize that you get to make that impact now. And it doesn't have to be donating thousands of dollars to charity. It means choosing to put your money towards what you believe in and what's important to you. And for me, that looks like organic local produce. That looks like recycled or high quality made, sustainably produced clothing. That looks like investing in entrepreneurs and other coaches doing the same work that I do, right? When you invest in the coaching industry and you're a coach, guess what you're doing? You're saying, yes, more of that, please. When you invest in coaching as a coach, you rise up the whole entire coaching industry. You are actively creating more of that in the world. The more that you choose to buy your produce from local farms, the more you're creating more local farms in the world. And guess what? As more and more of us choose the kind of world we want to live in, that's when that becomes the norm. That's when the law of supply and demand works in that favor, and the things that are in alignment with nature become more affordable because it's highly demanded, right? The reason why the scarce-based things are so affordable is because there's so many people buying them. So it's highly demanded, so the price goes down. Or no, there's a high supply, right? Because there's a high demand, then there's a high supply, so they produce more and more of it, and that makes the price go down. But if more and more people chose what was most in alignment to them, supply would go up, demand would go up, supply would come up to match it, and those things would become the norm and would become more and more affordable. As a collective, we have a huge impact on our economies. We are the ones creating our economies by what we choose, by how we wield our money, by what we prioritize. And as a result, we're impacting the whole entire world. What if you wielded your money to create not only the life you want to live, but the world you want to live? This is the expanded impact. And it's important to know that you are already making a huge impact on this world every single day by how you are currently spending your money. No matter how much or how little money you have, no matter how often you spend or how inoften you spend, anything you do spend your money on, you are saying, yes, more of this, please. So notice, bring your attention to what are you choosing with your money? What are you choosing for your life, and what are you choosing to create more of in this world? And what are the small ways that you can already start to shift it? more in alignment with what is truly important to you and the kind of world you want to live in. And I know there are some things that might feel impossible to do because they're so deeply ingrained in society. It's like, yes, but I need to fill my car with gas because I need to go somewhere to work my job and I can't do anything about it. Okay. There's a way to change that and also start with the small, simple things that you can start to do now. Recognize with every dollar that you spend what you're already choosing. And as you start to change those dollar by dollar, it's going to get easier and easier to do it for the harder ones, the ones that feel like there's nothing you can do about it. But listen, there's a lot that you can already do with the money that you have. Did you know that you are so powerful? You have power. Your power is your money, your time, and your energy. And how you choose to use that money, that time, that energy creates your life and creates this world. And I am living my life in service to abundance, in service to freedom, in service to fulfillment, because I believe that when we're all living, thriving, fulfilling, abundant lives that we enjoy, that transforms the world. And that we can do that instantly. We can do that the moment that we decide to do it. And that we all have this power. And that we all make this impact already. And that we can shape and change this impact that we are making. Isn't that exciting? Isn't it exciting to know that you can transform the frickin' world? Because you can. Your dollars make a difference. You co-create this world. And small shifts make big differences. That's just chaos theory, right? A butterfly flaps its wings and then there's hurricanes on the other side of the world. You redirecting your power in alignment with the life that you want to live, that ripples out. That makes a huge difference. And this is exactly why I teach my clients in Empowered Abundance to wield the power of their money so that they can live their most fulfilling, thriving, and aligned and abundant lives. Because when we all live from a place of abundance, not only do we change our lives, we change the world. And that's really the purpose behind the work that I do. Yes, it's about helping us all live lives we love, but it's bigger than that. It's about reshaping this world that we live in. It's about creating a world where we do get to be free, where we do get to have enough, where we get to be in flow with nature, in flow with abundance, where there is always enough. What if it was just a choice? What if it was just a decision? And what if you could make it starting right now? If you're ready to take control of your money, break free from scarcity, and step fully into your next level of abundance, then my Empowered Abundance program is here to help you do exactly that. Inside, you'll learn how to transform your relationship with money, manage it with confidence, and use it as a tool to make your vision a reality. Head to thebizhippie.com/abundance to learn more and take the first step. And if you loved this episode, let's share this message with the world. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and pass it on to someone who needs to hear this. Until next time, here's to abundance.